In this video, I'm going to get you into the Fusion 15 Cube all-in-one starter kit desktop aquarium. This is a 15-gallon aquarium. It's 15 by 15 by 15. And of course, the under gravel filter plate that I put in there is a 29-gallon. Like I said in my first video, it fits absolutely perfect. With this particular aquarium, the reason I thought it would appeal to people and make a video is only because it does not require any additional filtration. You will have 100% of what you need with the aquarium that they give you. I'll be using lights that I've already had, heaters I already had, stand I already had, everything I already had except for the desktop aquarium. So let me get into parts you're going to need and things that I changed from what I got with the tank. So this is the pump hooked up. Now I exchanged the original pump that came with it, which was only 130 gallons an hour, to this pump. I already had it, didn't have to cost me anything. Bought this off of Amazon, was cheap, inexpensive pump. It pumps 1,500 liters, which equals to about, 390 gallons an hour. Now the idea, because the reason I'm showing this is a lot of people have asked me, can I make a plenum and hook it up to my canister filter or hook it up to my hang on the back filter, or in this case with the new 15-gallon aquarium, can I run everything off of one pump? I do not want air stones. I don't want a bubbler. I don't want the noise. Understand it completely. Now, I did this on my antique aquarium and ran that for 25 years using a method like this. Now, this pump right here is pumping out. This is the intake. This is the exit. It pumps it in here. Now, this is a T-fitting. You can buy these at Lowe's or Home Depot at your normal hardware store. You don't have to buy them online. This is just extra tubing I've had sitting around, E-high tubing. This is some extra tubing I had. It fits the ID of this perfectly. So basically, we're going to use physics, and that is water takes the path of least resistance. So when this pumps out the water, the path of least resistance is just to go straight to this that goes out. And they have a little connection here. See? That goes, and I'll show you how that works. But now we have the T fitting. Now, not much water is going to go through this T, and this is the fitting that goes in here, comes out the other half-inch hole, which I step drilled into the aquarium. This right here, in case you don't know, is called a step drill. And you can see the top number is 7/16, and then on top of that is ½ That is the size hole you would want to drill into the, what would you say, the sump, which is nothing but plexiglass or acrylic. You do not want to use a normal drill. If you try to drill a normal drill and not a step drill, in case you don't know what a step drill is, you may crack it. You may wind up not having a nice clean hole. Step drill will make a nice clean hole all the way up to ½ and you'll have no problem. So in case you didn't know what a step drill is, this is it. You can usually buy these at Harbor Freight, at any of your hardware stores, or if you want to buy them on Amazon, they're a lot cheaper. You don't need an expensive pair of step drills. Usually they come in 3 different step drill sizes and stuff for you. And this is one of them. And as you can see, the very last one that's going to go through is the ½ The ½ is for this. So this can slip through the ½ hole that you're going to make. So I will say it once again, do not try to use a normal drill bit. The normal drill bit can wind up catching. It can wind up messing up. Instead of making a nice, clean, round hole, the hole may be distorted, and you don't want that. So invest in a pair of step drills like this to drill through thin metal, plexiglass, acrylic. These come in handy. When you go to drill, take your time. There's no big rush to hurry up and plow through anything. You don't want plastic to be melting on you. So take your time as you drill through it, and you'll come up with zero problems. So now this part right here goes into the aquarium, and this is the part right here that connects up to the under gravel filter plate, and this will allow water to come in to the under gravel filter plate. Now this will be more or less a reverse flow. Instead of taking water from the top of the plenum down, you're going to be taking water from the bottom going up. Okay, this will allow fluids to move. Now, another thing is, because this is 1/2 inch, the orifice of here, or the ID, is very small, so you're not going to get a lot of water through here. And of course, how much water comes through this pipe here is all going to be dependent upon this pipe and its restriction. Because remember, the water is going to take the path of least resistance. So if you had the same setup and you had a canister filter or whatever, you would need some way to control this flow in order to get some sort of flow out of here. Otherwise, what's going to happen is this is going to flow with the least resistance because it's shorter than this, and you're not going to get any water at all going through here because there's going to be back pressure. So you have to make a little bit of back pressure here in this tubing to make sure a little bit of water starts coming this way to go into the plenum or your under gravel filter, if you understand what I mean. And how it's done with this is very easy. By adding this onto this, it makes enough back pressure to allow a small amount of water to go through here. You don't need a large amount of water, like I said, 20 gallons or less going through here. Now, as you see, there's 2 plastic black washers here, as you can see. Okay, here's a picture of a close-up of the L pipe fitting with the 2 plastic washers. You can buy these from Home Depot or Lowe's, or of course you can buy them on Amazon. They're black plastic. You put one in the front and one's going to go in the back. And the reason you need the clamp is the clamp is going to clamp the hose on so it becomes a tight fitting to the inside the bulkhead. As you can see here, this is what it's going to look like after you get it all hooked up. And that will be a tight fitting on there. So actually, it's not going to be able to move around because you'll squeeze it together real tight and tighten up this clamp, the hose clamp. Make sure it's a stainless steel one, and that should be good. This is a close-up of the T-fitting, and like I said, you buy these right at your local hardware store. They come in black. You don't need to clamp any of these hoses. There's not going to be a lot of pressure on them, any back pressure to pop them off. So just slipping them off. All the hoses for this particular aquarium are all 1/2 inch. And this is the outlet. Now this goes to the, what would you call, the bulkhead fitting. And then the duckbill connection will connect up to this, which I'll show you how that is done. It's pretty simple of everything that I'm showing you. Okay, this is that piece of teak wood I bought at Lowe's. It came 16 inches by 36 inches. I cut it down to 18 inches. I sanded it down and stained it with some Old English. Because it's teak, In case, remember I told you that in case your aquarium is bigger than your stand, you're going to need to make a bottom for it. Well, it's all done. Because it's teak, after you stain it, you really don't have to seal it. Teak is pretty resistant to water. That's why they use it on boats. Now you see exactly how it's hooked up to the aquarium. You have your pump down here, comes up and comes out, and this is your exit. Path of least resistance. This is going to have the most resistance, and this is what's going to the plenum. There's plenty of room in here now to add a heater or whatever you want. If you're saltwater, on this side of the aquarium, you can add a refrigum and put a light over it, just like what I'm doing now. And it will come and stir it up and bring it over here. Or you can add a BCB bag right in here. Or you can add one down at the very bottom here. So that's basically what it's going to look like when it's completely set up. So this is your duct bill. This is what makes the restriction. And here is your outlet for the plenum. The plate, like I said, fits like a glove. So all we have to do is connect this up to this, and this doesn't move because it's nice and tight because, like I said, you use a clamp to clamp it to make it nice and tight on the bulkhead fitting here. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. But on the bulkhead fitting here, there's a washer here and a washer on this side and a plastic one on this side. And I push the tubing on, tighten it tight, and now this doesn't move at all. So, but it can be taken apart easily enough. And that's it. Now, this takes a little bit of time, depending on if you want. Now, let me bring this up. If you wanted to leave this just like this, you can. This is the way Chaubert does the plenum. He does not have any uplift tubes. He just has an undergravel filter and puts his substrate on it. If you were going to do a saltwater aquarium and you did not want to do it the way I'm showing you here by hooking it up to this, fine. Put your substrate directly on this plate, the undergravel plate. You will have a plenum, about a 1/2 inch deep plenum. This will allow fluids to move in and out of the substrate easier than just putting your substrate at the bottom of the aquarium. Now, if you think about it, why would anybody not do this? Except for one reason, just laziness, or they don't want to pay for an undergravel filter. How hard is it to put this in? Let's say you don't want an uplift tube, you don't want to hook it up. Put this in and fill it full of your saltwater substrate, whatever, your coral sea or whatever you're going to use. Instead of throwing it directly on the bottom, make a plenum out of it. So fluids move easier because the slits allow water to move in and out of here. This is just going to guarantee a very slow movement of water going through your substrate. That was the only difference between what Chaubert said and what I have discovered is that moving water very slowly through here worked better for me than just using the plenum alone. But it's entirely up to you because the Chaubert method does work. It's just up to the hobbyist which way they wish to apply the science that's being done here. So what I've added here is some of the Eheim filtering medium. Now this is the same stuff that I took out of the Lanai aquarium after 2 years. And look how clean it is after 2 years. I didn't even have to clean it or anything. It was already nice and clean like that. 2 years of sitting underneath the plenum. And I did not do anything except rinse it down a little bit, but that's as clean as it was. It wasn't all filthy dirty. It wasn't brown in color. So that goes to show you that the plenum is not acting like a filter, because look how clean that is. So you can add this if you want. This is the Eheim. There's other makers out there that make stuff. If it can fit underneath there, you don't want to put a whole lot, but it will add in your filtration as far as growing bacteria. Now I have the tube. Very easy to connect up. It just slides in. It locks into place. This bottom part does. It locks into place. Tubing comes up. This tubing you get with the aquarium, this dark tubing. So this isn't something you're going to buy. It's just something you're going to use that already comes with the aquarium. And then this, your duckbill, goes over this. Okay, so here's the plate. And as you can see, when we look through the plate, there's the Eheim medium underneath it. You don't need to jam pack it in there a little bit. You know, like they do, they sell you a little bit of a bag or something like that. That's enough to let bacteria grow on it and give you even more biological filtration. A lot of these filter mediums are designed so bacteria can live inside of them and do the disseminative denitrification. And that's what, according to what manufacturers have designed the medium to do, but without the medium getting all dirty and clogged up. Okay, the next step is I had a little bit of kitty litter left over. You can use other mediums such as oil dry or safety zorb or even zeolite. And I just push it away from the edges, as you can see here, just so, because I want the substrate I'm putting down to show through and not any kitty litter. So it looks like it's 100% substrate. Okay, now I have this basket full of stones, as you can see. This was the gravel that was used in the Lanai aquarium, and I'm going to have to clean it up and take those little Eheim balls out of there, and I'll do that and siphon it because I have a way of doing that, and I'll get it real nice and clean. And this is a mixture, a special mixture of gravel. In part 3, I'll tell you exactly how I made it. Okay, so now it's time to fill it. The substrate it is in. Now the substrate may look deeper than what it really is. I measured it. It's about, from the bottom of the glass aquarium, about 3.5 inches high. It looks higher than that, but you figure that a 1/2 inch of that height is nothing but the plenum. So you got about 3 inches of substrate, 3 to 4 inches of substrate in this aquarium. And of course, when you fill it up, don't forget, put a plate there so the water doesn't blow everything all around your aquarium. Okay, so the aquarium's been filled. I went with my hand, stirred up the substrate. Of course, even though the kitty litter was clean, it's still going to have some deposits in there to make the aquarium milky. But also, this substrate still has particles of minute sand particles in it, even though I tried to siphon out as much of the sand as I could. But of course, you can't get 100% of it, so it still has a little bit of sand particles floating around, and that's from the kitty litter. But within a matter of just a few hours, there, not even a day, just a matter of a few hours, it's crystal clear. So it's really not a big deal. Now, I wanted to show you this because, yeah, if you look at it, you would say, wow, that substrate looks deep, but it really isn't. I measured it from the bottom of the tank up 3.5 inches. So you figured it's only about 3 inches deep. And that's it. It's kind of an optical illusion. Okay, so this is the two aquariums set up. As you see the stand, there was no reason to get rid of the stand, so you can see the teak wood underneath the bigger aquarium. The smaller 6-gallon aquarium is underneath. I never throw away anything, so I really didn't have to buy any lights or anything. I'm using a can light over this aquarium. The only thing I had to really buy was the driftwood. Oh, and the fish. So in my third and final part of this setup, I will go over what the substrate is. And remember, you do not need any sponge filters. You do not need to keep adding any filter medium to the back of the wear after the wear. Inside that section, which you would call the sump. You don't need to add anything to that. If you want, as you can see, there's a plant. That is optional because the plenum is going to give you 100% of your biological. The overflow with the sock in it is going to give you your mechanical. That's all you need. You're done. And it is silent. And it's pumping, according to the pump, 396 gallons an hour through the aquarium, but it doesn't look like it because the duckbill does restrict the amount of water coming out of that pump. In part 3, I'm going to get more into that and how I did the substrate. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe so you can keep up. And I will get into how I made the substrate so it makes it very easy for you to put substrate in your aquarium without a big hassle. And that will be my next video. Until then, I hope you enjoyed the video and happy fish keeping, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, happy fish keeping.